Hi guys, this is CobDaddy and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov new player experience guide. This one's going to be focusing around ammo. With respect to my previous videos, it's also going to be a one and done, so there's not going to be any video editing or anything weird, just me going over what ammo I use in Escape from Tarkov on the daily and sort of my thoughts on the ammo within Escape from Tarkov. To get some housekeeping out of the way, I do have a new GPU on the way, which should allow me to stream in better quality, which will therefore let me get better production value out of the videos that I'll be posting because I'll be able to slot in replays, highlights, clips of all the Escape from Tarkov shenanigans I get up to, which will be great. Even now, I've got some clips that I can put into future videos. I just need to get into the video editing scene. Next up, I did want to say thank you to the 2 new subs on my channel. It's great to have any sort of growth. I do this for the new players, and I really hope that it does help. All this information was available to me when I started playing Escape from Tarkov, but having someone explain it to you, tell you what to look out for, what to focus on, that's what helped me, and I really hope that I can help you in the same way. Um, Being that my channel's called CobDaddy, I did want to mention that I'm probably going to start a food section in a playlist, so probably just cooking with Cob or something like that, and we'll go ahead and make some of my favorite recipes, stuff like that, and the infamous Cob loaf. So with that out of the way, we'll jump ahead into the ammo guide now, and we'll go through the no food after midnight ammo chart, just because well, it's a great chart. No food streams on Twitch, I believe. I'm not too sure about YouTube videos. I haven't seen any, but definitely worth checking out. All credit to No Food After Midnight, and the link will be in the description. Definitely recommend having this open as well. So I'll go through top to bottom now and just tell you what I use in my kits. So with that out of the way, with shotguns, all I use is the AP-20 slug. That's it. 37 penetration, 164 flesh damage, does pretty much everything you need it to. I just go for face taps. So one of my most budgeted kits is a Mossberg pump action shotgun, just with 8 rounds of AP-20, well, 9 if you count the extra round, I believe. And just a stack in your gamma, maybe 8 there ready to reload it. So very small investment to start with, because that's probably around the 50k mark. You can run armor; it doesn't matter really if you're using this. You can run tier 4. Typically, is what I'd run, like some sort of rig. But you're just going for a face tap on someone. Hit them with AP-20, insta kill, in the face, unless they're wearing an Alton or better. And from there, loot them. You've traded up, use their gear for the rest of the raid, and then that Mossberg has done its job. Ditch it in a bush, easy insurance fraud. So AP-20, definitely one to look for. Just touching on price, just because I wanted to include prices in this. Currently, AP-20 is sitting at around 900 rubles around. It's not too bad, but you can get it from a trader for cheaper. So with pretty much all these ammo types, I'm going to give you what you can buy it for right now on the flea, which is Australian 1 p.m. So, it'll be US night, which will be peak buying time. So there's not going to be much ammo because so many people will be buying it, I'm fairly sure. That's typically the ebb and flow that I've seen in the flea market. So these are going to be high prices, and they will probably drop, up to 15%. And they can increase, say, 15% as well. So anywhere in that sort of range. But AP-20, 900 a slug. You can craft it in the hideout as well, which I will include in a future guide. So definitely worth a look at. I'm going to skip over 9x18 and 7.62x25. Now, I know people will scream, oh, what about leg meta with a Ketter? I don't care. I don't run leg meta kits, mainly because you're teaching yourself not to hit center of mass. You're like, oh, I'll aim for the leg, I'll aim for the arm. You're forcing yourself to make that change, which, is good for a change of pace if you want it. But I go for kills the traditional way of penetrating body armor and getting a kill. Typically, I just aim for the head. The quicker you can end a fight, the better in Tarkov, in my opinion, which is why the AP-20 slug, single headshot, done. So that's why I like it so much. So I'll move on down to the next round that I think is viable, which is the 9x19. Now, I did touch on the PST GZH in my previous videos. It is one of the starting rounds you'll receive in your stash when you buy the game. It's not that great. It's not too bad for a new player, to tell you the truth. You can get the face taps. Anything that hits in the face without armor is going to kill anyway. You've only got 35 head health. So, if they've got a level 2 face shield, you can get through that too. So PSTGZH is not too bad. I wouldn't run it unless I was running, I don't know, something fast firing, looking to get the headshots. And even then, most people would just run Rip or Quake Maker, whatever, just high flesh, just in order to try to get the kill, leg meta, stuff like that. Which is sort of the opposite to me, whereas I'd sort of trade up to the AP 6.3 or the 7N31, both of which are amazing rounds, by the way. So AP 6.3 is quite expensive, and the 7N31 is much more expensive. So AP 6.3 is currently about 985 rubles a round. 7N31 is about 1800, and there's not much quantity on the flea. Now, I wouldn't recommend buying these unless you've got the traders unlocked. I think it's Peacekeeper level 2 sells AP 6.3 for about, I don't know, $2 something around. So if you buy a bulk quantity, it's not $3 around, even though it says $3 around. And Prapor sells 7N31 for 550-ish rubles around. So less than almost a quarter of what you're paying on the flea right now. Like definitely about less than a third of what you're paying on the flea. So great rounds, definitely worth using. These will smash through face shields all day unless they're wearing Altons. Even 7N31 can give an Alton guy a bit of a scare. It can definitely kill them pretty damn quick. But great rounds. I had great success running these, so definitely worth using, especially in an MP5 silent, like suppressed. Moving on, I don't touch 45 either. Don't touch 9x21 either. Moving into the 5.7 by 28. Now this is where you're going to find the P90 and the 5.7 pistol. They're quite heavily used. Obviously, again, highest penetration round is what we'll be pretty much looking at all the time, because that's typically all I run. SS190. I buy it from Peacekeeper because I've got that trade, like the trade unlocked for money. It's 1250 rubles around otherwise, which is definitely expensive. The reason I say it's expensive is because for for 900 rubles, I can face tap someone. I might spend 3 rounds, 4 rounds trying to kill someone. 3,600 rubles. With SS190, you're spraying a 50-round mag at 1250 a shot. So definitely not what I would call budget. Definitely something that's more towards endgame, but I've reliably run it with no issues since about level 20 or so, I think. Possibly later, I'm not too sure, but it is a round that will just work for you all day. And because it's definitely one of the best, the others, especially SB93, which most people sleep on because its stats are so close to the SS190. Yeah, all the other rounds tend to be a bit cheaper. So if you're running 5.7 pistols consistently, you can run any of these ammo types. I just run SS190. I buy it in 250 round lots from Peacekeeper, and it seems to last me because I don't know. I get on during the day and buy again in the evening, and by the time I'm playing at night, you get 750 rounds, and some raids you don't even see PMCs. So it's all about ammo conservation, how you want to use it. But at the same time, you want that honey badger kick. You want to be able to kill anyone who's coming after you. So we'll move ahead into MP7 territory, which is the 4.6 by 30 mil rounds. So your top two aren't typically used too much, but definitely FMJ-SX is the budget variant, and the APSX is the kill everything variant. APSX is currently about 1900 rubles around, which is expensive as hell for something you spray at an enemy. And FMJ-SX is at about 1300 around, which is still very expensive for what it is. I don't recommend running these until you've got them unlocked from a trader, just because of that price point. But at the same time, it is up to you. I wouldn't recommend, as a newer player, to be running full auto guns apart from a few. So like the 5.45 AKs, which we'll get to in a moment. just because you're going to be shooting away all of your money if you keep buying these rounds. Anywho, we'll get to the 9.39mm. Now, these used to be the kings of PvP. They are still very much the kings of PvP, just with all the other meta guns that everyone's running at the moment. So, jumping right in, SP5 is pretty great, but it does drop off in utility towards, mid to end wipe, just because everyone's going to be running tier 4 armor or better most of the time. So, it is a bit of a damp squib when you compare it to SP6, SPP, and BP. But in the pricing area, you're looking at 750-ish for SP6, which I think is a bloody bargain, considering how well it performs. SPP is a bit of a crazy one. It's up at 1400 a round, and BP is up at what do we got? 1500 a round currently. Not much quantity either on these, so your best bet is to buy from traders. Even then, I just recommend SP6. It just performs fairly admirably for me. SPP, I did get a heap off a couple of players, and it's definitely amazing and it performs really well. But it's up to you whether you think is it worth the price point of paying that to kill people. But we will get to that. And again, these are guns that you're typically not going for the headshot, you're going for the spray. So moving on to the 366 AP, this is one of the new rounds that made 366 viable to use. I wouldn't recommend it in anything other than like a Vapor AK that runs 366. Now, 42 pen, 90 flesh, you can one-tap people in the chest running tier 3 or less armor. It doesn't one-tap tier 4 armor, just with the flesh damage reduction of going through armor, but you can really munt people up. It does have an accuracy penalty. I can't really tell whether that works or not, but yeah, it's definitely worth running, seeing if you like it. It's a good DMR sort of rifle. Like good round for that sort of action, mid to long range. Even spraying up close, if you tap firing, you can really tear into them with that amount of flesh. So you're looking at about 770 rubles a round. It is cheaper from vendors again, but you can make it as well in the hideout. Moving on to a huge utility round. We're getting into the utility stage. We're looking at 545 by 39mm. Now, this is what typical AKs are going to be running. And yeah, there's really only 3 rounds worth discussing, which is BT, BS, and 7N39 or Igolnik. Now, all 3 have their own merits. BT is definitely budget at the moment, even though it's essentially got the same stats as SS190, but it is like less than a quarter of the price. Typical price at the moment is about 300 rubles. So this is really budget right now. Like spray it all day, you're not going to worry too much because you're only losing about 9,000 rubles per mag. So, by all means, BT is the king at the moment of budget, and it's worth running. Like you can easily pick up kills with it. It's a utility round. It'll just punch on through armor, does decent damage. So I don't know. It's one of the ones that I highly recommend people grab all the time because it just works for me. BS is one of the ones that seems to work better for me. Now you're moving up to 51 pen, which means that you're at the point where you can start slapping slick plate as well, like tier 6 armor. It does take a bit to get through it, but if you get that cheeky headshot, you're pretty much going to get the kills. BS is pretty wonderful, and it is also pretty expensive, currently at about 1,300 rubles a round. Last night it was around the 1,000 rubles around though, which isn't too bad, but at the same time, it's much better to pick up BT and BS on reserve by running it there and just getting out with the ammo. Moving on to a Golnik, you're guaranteed you're going to pen pretty much everything that's not going to ricochet it. It's also usually about 100 rubles around more than BS, so you're looking at about the 1,400 ruble round at the moment. This is definitely a utility weapon, so the AK-74N is pretty meta at the moment, and yeah, I'll take you through that in one of the future videos and sort of what I run on that one. Moving on to the next high quality round, we've got 5.56 by 45. Now, this is what people in the M4s and the HK 416s are going to be running. This is very much a, again, in inverted commas, meta uh, sort of setup. Most people who are running M4s are going to be running them low recoil, and they're looking to spray you down. Now, realistically, same as the 545 by 39, you've got three that are fairly viable. It's your choice, really, what you want to run. 856A1, that's your budget round. 855A1, that's your more reliable pen round. And then 995 is your, if you're, I don't know, rich beyond your wildest dreams, you can run that round. Um, Again, you'll want to wait until you can get it from traders, just because at the moment 855A1's 1950 rubles around, which is crazy when you consider you'll be dumping a 60 round mag to kill one guy half the time. So you you're literally dumping away yeah, more than his kit will be worth half the time. 856A1, that's nice at around 700 rubles around, which is still a bit exy, and 995 is around the 1800 rubles around. So unless you get these in raid, pick them off a corpse, I wouldn't recommend paying that for them ever. It's quite crazy. They're not that common to find in raid either. You get them from caches and stuff like that, but my advice would definitely be take them off people who you kill, but wait until you've got the traders sufficiently leveled that you can buy these yourself. Moving on to 7.62 by 39. Now, this was my favorite caliber for a very long time, and realistically, there are three rounds that do work. So T45, PS, and BP. T45 and PS in some ammo testing recently just have not performed well at all. I don't know why. They just they've gone downhill a bit. So realistically, the only thing I would recommend you run is BP. Now, you run this in an AKM or similar. You get its recoil stat down a bit. It's 900 around, but this thing will slap all day. It's not going to have the fastest firing rate, so recoil's a little bit more controllable as well. And you shouldn't need to dump a mag to kill people. If you tap fire, tap, 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 2 to 3 rounds, they're dead. If you get that headshot, they're dead anyway. So, very much recommend running BP only in this category, especially this stage of the wipe. Start of the wipe, everything's viable. Let's be fair. But at this stage of the wipe, BP only is what I would recommend. Moving on to the next sort of NATO round is 7.62 by 51 millimeter. This is a sort of god tier. It's definitely where you're going to find so much utility in the weapons that you use. This is the M1A. This is the 7.62 by 51 DMR. This is the FAL. This is, you know, it, this is everyone's sort of wheelhouse of even snipers use this. So M700 and I think the DVL and few other weapons use this, but it's definitely worth looking into. It's one of my favorite rounds in the game. It's just a consistent round. 5.56 by 4.5. I don't know if there's any issues with it, but sometimes you can dump a mag to kill someone, and you need to hit a lot of those rounds. Whereas other times, one tap headshot. So it's not the most consistent round for me. I haven't had perfect success with that. Same with the 5.45 by 39, but the heavy hitting rounds, the 7.62 by 39 BP and the 7.62 by 51 millimeter, this is where you start to get reliability consistently. Um, Four real reliable rounds at the moment. So M80, that is your budget round. This thing is cheap. You get it early on and it just performs consistently. You can run a stock M1A with a red dot and just tap fools all day with this. It's just an excellent round to run. 7.62 by 51. M62, that's sort of your next. I don't want to say budget because it's expensive as hell right now. I don't understand why. There's none on the flea at the moment, so you can only have it from Peacekeeper once you've finished it's one of the Spa Tour quests or something like that. But it will reliably pen most helmets in the game off the bat, insta kill. So not bad at all. If you get a headshot, they're dead. M61, same thing again. You can buy it for about 1900 rubles around, which, is not that bad when you consider that you're going to be aiming for head taps or two in the chest. So realistically, you spend what, 4,000 rubles to kill someone? That's still pretty cheap, but you don't want to die with a lot of ammo on you. Finally, M993. Now, this is one of the new rounds. It's got crazy penetration, but it's just not worth running. Like it's 3,000 rubles a round right now on the flea at this point in time. It's not worth running. So anything over 60 pen is wasted. So realistically, M61's a bit wasted too. But I mean, you got to run something. So either M62, M61, or my favorite, the budget M80, and just go for the head. This used to be a wonderful round when you only had 80 thorax health because you could get those one taps, but it doesn't really bother me that you need that second shot now. Moving on to 762 by 54R. Now, I'd go through this whole category, but there's only one thing I ever run this, which is SNB. Now, people will debate why, especially with 7N1 being able to one tap tier 3 and lower in the chest. SNB is just reliable. You're going to get through any armor in the game. Just hit center of mass, you hit them, you've done damage. You can guarantee it. Now, the ricochet, can happen off a headshot, if you hit a helmet or whatever, but SMB's been very reliable. You run it in a semi-auto like an SVD, and you're laughing. Running it in a Mosin, you can definitely still run 7N1, but I don't know, it's not worth the price increase for me because SMB is cheap, and you find it a lot in raid, so yeah, definitely worth looking at there. Finally, we're going to move on to the last round that I'll talk about, which is the PS12B. This can only be used in the Ash 12 assault rifle, 20 round mags, recoil like you wouldn't believe, but my gosh, this thing will one tap consistently. That flesh damage is amazing, so as soon as people get up close, you can just spray the mag. If you hit 4 or 5 shots, they'll die. They'll be blacked out, several limbs, and they'll probably die. So definitely worth running, but depending on whether or not you find it in raid, like if you kill Gluha, whatever you want to call him, and take it off him, buying it on the flea is pretty expensive, but you don't have to mod it, so you just slap a side on it, so it's still not too bad. Anyway, so that pretty much takes you through the ammo that I use. I wouldn't use anything else at the moment. I don't think anything else is viable for me, for my playstyle. I do want to touch just on, if you're using full auto, I tend to run a clip in the gun, possibly an extended mag in the gun to start with, 1 or 2 clips in my rig, ready to go, and some ammo in the gamma. Depending on the gun, so if it's a P90, I'll run like 4 or so extra mags just because they take forever to pack. But I just want to kill them quickly. I don't want to ruin my investment by having to fight everyone. I'm not there to fight the whole server. I'm there to kill 2 or 3 PMCs who are going for the loot that I'm going for. If a huge group comes in, that's why I carry 2 grenades. I'll use them defensively and I'll book it. I don't know. Half the time it's better to survive and repack a mag and then come back at a different angle. I did want to quickly go through upcoming videos as well, just because we've got that new GPU on the way. So I've got an ammo guide. I want to really get the clips for each one of these ammos that I've been using, sort of show you those sort of methods that I'm using the ammo and the situations that I get into. So I had really good fun last night running a G18 pistol with just AP 6.3, just spraying down fools in dorms. So it was amazing. I definitely recommend, running the smaller calibers and stuff like that. I'll get all the guides together, but ammo guides, map guides, PvP guides for those maps, loot guides for those maps. So it'll probably all be in one and just be longer videos. Trading guides, so what items I tend to keep. So an example of that would be rechargeable batteries. They only take up 1 slot in raid. When you get out of raid, you trade them to Skier for a stock ADAR. If you're low level, stock ADAR, use the thing. If you're not a low level, 23k when you sell it. Like, it's easy money for a 1 slot item. and a lot of people just look over them. Modding and weapon guides, including loadouts. So that was what I was saying at the start with the AP20 in the Mossberg. I just want to give you cheap, quick loadouts that you'll use to trade up. Armor guides, expectation guides. So again, if you're a new player, you're playing solo, you're probably going to be scared for your first couple raids, and that's fine. If you're playing with experienced guys, they can help you out, but it'll also feel like a carry. So if you do start playing solo, you might not find you're doing so well because you're not listening for the same cues that your friends were. Um, I might do a hearing guide. I'm not too sure about that one. Hideout guide, scav case guide, and a hard task guide. So any tasks that have taken me a while to do, I'll go over them. The scav case video, it's just going to be a compilation of screenshots, just with what I've pulled from the scav case. It's why I'm so poor because I haven't been playing too much lately, and I've just been running consistent moonshines and intels. And tell you what, I'm not getting back what I'm putting in. So Scav Case has either been nerfed because it was great at the start of this wipe, or I just have terrible luck at the moment. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Just a reminder, I do want to thank those subs who have come on through. I will look you up and put you into the next video, just because, I really do appreciate it. If this has helped you in any way, go ahead and drop a comment. I'm going to respond. So so if you want to chat, by all means, let's chat. I will be streaming on Twitch. I'm not too sure I'll be doing Tarkov until I get this new GPU, just because it's a bit finicky depending on the map. But yeah, I'll probably be doing some, I don't know, Halo 3 ODST or similar games until that arrives. Anyway, hope you have a nice day. Hope this has helped you in some way, shape, or form with regards to what ammo to run. I hope you take away from this that my rationale is that if you're running an 80k gun and you're using 80k of ammo, so 160k total, you're much more likely to kill someone than if you're running a 200,000 plus ruble gun and 20k of ammo. So ammo is what matters in Tarkov, and it's getting that ammo to hit people as well that matters, which is why people make the meta low recoil kits. But if you can consistently aim at the head, get headshots, you can run an absolute dog crap gun. It doesn't matter. You just need the ammo to get through their armor to do it. So I will expand on this all in future videos, but I do appreciate anyone who comes by and has a watch. Let me know if you want to see anything else. I'm happy to go over anything, share whatever you want. And again, hope you have a nice day. Cheers, bye.